Hello, welcome to Spirituality Simplified. Today we're going to be talking about the magic and mysteries of numbers. I know what you're probably thinking, like numbers, they can't be that exciting, but I promise you, they are really fascinating. If you're like me, you hated math. I was not a left brain person. I was not real great at math, so the thought of numbers kind of it freaks me out, but if you're an accountant, you probably will appreciate this. No, but we're going to be talking about the magical and the mystical spiritual side to numbers today, because we're going to be talking all about numerology and what exactly that means, and why do you care about numerology, and how can you implement numerology into your life if it resonates. So I'm super excited. I mean, I know I mention numerology a lot in my episodes, in my social media posts, my blogs. It's something I work with every single day. I mean, it's so funny. It's like for someone who didn't like math and numbers, and I mean even astronomy is very math, number focused. But I find myself just completely obsessed, like geeking out on numbers now. And I literally use them every day to kind of figure out, the ways of the world and figure out my place in this world. And they really do. They're so fascinating. They unlock those magic and those mysteries of the universe. And they give us, information on the current energies of the earth and what's going on all around us. They really can help you to understand yourself and your path in this specific lifetime. Numbers, like everything on the planet, contain their own unique frequency and vibration and energetic pattern. And when we tap into this frequency, we can receive spiritual guidance and messages that we need to live our best and most authentic and joyful and loving life possible. So they really are incredible. And so we're going to talk all about that today. So let's get started. All right. So, what is numerology? You may or may not have heard this term before. So, of course, gotta look up Wikipedia. It's always interesting to me to see what the definition is. And according to Wikipedia, numerology is any belief in the divine or mystical relationship between a number and one or more coinciding events. It is also the study of the numerical value of the letters in words, names, and ideas. It is often associated with the paranormal, alongside astrology and similar divinatory arts. Divinatory, I haven't seen that word before, but it's like divination. We've mentioned that before, like divination tools or like oracle cards, tarot cards, things like that, things that help you predict the future, predict events, or give you intuitive insights, things like that. So that's the definition according to Wikipedia. Now, numerology's history runs deep, and that can be, I mean, they can be found across numerous cultures across the whole globe. It's super fascinating. I definitely recommend looking into that. We're not going to go into the details of the history of numerology today. We're going to look more at just the spiritual aspect of it, but I definitely encourage you to take a look, do some research. There's some really cool stuff out there. It's pretty fascinating. So, okay, we got the definition of numerology, but really kind of what it means to me is deciphering messages from the universe through the different meanings that each number represents. So let's use an example. So let's take the number one, for example. So the number one in numerology typically represents new beginnings. So, when I see the number one repeatedly, or, maybe I ask my spirit guides and my angels, which number am I resonating the most with today? And you can certainly ask your angels the same thing. And let's say I hear the number one, then what that tells me and what is that my guides and my angels are trying to tell me that, we're with you as you embark on this new adventure, this new journey. Don't give up hope because you're not alone. Keep going. You're on the right path. I mean, that's essentially a really, quick and dirty version of like a message of what that really means to me when I resonate with the number one. So depending on what's going on in your life, if you're starting a new project, if you are starting a new job, a whole new career, you're starting a new spiritual journey, whatever that is for you, you could be aligning with the vibration of the number one. So it's just really fascinating. You can get a lot of information about the energy of the world, your energy in the world at this time and where you're going. It's so much information in just one number. That's what's so fascinating about it. So, we're talking about the number one. Let's talk about what does each number represent. So, each number has multiple meanings, but I'm going to share with you just the top like three or four that it means to me because I like to kind of keep it simple. And I work with numbers a lot. So I want to have like a reference point, like, okay, one, new beginnings. You know what I mean? So it's easier for me to connect with whatever message is trying to be conveyed. But again, there's lots of meanings, so definitely feel free to explore further if this resonates with you. And I definitely recommend seeing which words stand out for you. And you can kind of create your little own short list, to kind of help jog your memory. Because again, there's there's lots of meanings out there, but there's always like one big overarching thing. So let's start with actually zero. So zero is, I mean, a lot of times you can even look at the number. I mean, it looks, like a circle, right? So I always think like full circle. It's like infinity, limitless, oneness. Those are the words that come to mind when I think of the number zero. So we just talked about one. So new beginnings, that's always the first thing I think of. It also can mean, independence or leadership as well. And then the number two is relationships. It's balance. It's yin and yang, divine masculine, divine feminine. So it's kind of that duality that you see in a lot, light, dark, things like that. The number three is all about creation and joy. And I think of it like kind of like that trinity, like the triangle, like mind, body, spirit, kind of that holistic. It can also represent, artistic expression, being social, kind of just that joyful, artistic fun, that's the vibe I get from the number three. Now, the number four is all about stability and foundation and strength. So if you think of like a box, has four sides, I mean, that's like the foundation for, when you build a house, for example, you know what I mean? It's like this, it's that strong, stable foundation. And then the number five, which you can think of as star with, the points. Five is freedom to me. Five is adventure and travel and sensuality and all the fun stuff. Five's a fun energy, that's for sure. Um, and then the number six is all about family and, nurturing, support, love, things like that. And then the number seven is all about spirituality and your intuition and mysticism and all the cool stuff, the universe, all those things. And then the number eight is all about abundance and manifestation. It can be about karma. This is another really powerful number. And then we have number nine, which represents completion. It's all about the wisdom of we've been there, done that. We've gone through all this, the full cycle, all the numbers. We're at the end point. It's about service, humanitarianism. Um, it's a really solid number. Now it goes 1 through 9 or 0 through 9. I included zero in there, but when you're trying to calculate what the numerology of something is, then you actually break it down to get to one single digit, like 1 through 9. So, just FYI, we'll talk about that more in a second. Um, but let's talk about okay. So now you know what a kind of a general, quick, meaning of the numbers. So how do you work with it? What does this mean, right? So there's lots of really cool ways that you can work with numbers and, from the spiritual aspect of numbers. And one of the main ones are synchronicities. So we've talked about this on, I think, the spirit guides episode, the angels episode. And synchronicities, it's all about, let's say, for example, you see the same number all the time. You see it everywhere you go. It could be one number, it could be a combination of numbers. Let's say you see like 333 everywhere you go. You look at the clock and it says 11:11. That's always a big one for people. That's a synchronicity, right? So, and again, you can have several different numbers or, patterns or sequences that you keep seeing, right? So it's very specific and unique to you. And I always think about like, it was so interesting, like pretty recently, I kept looking at the clock at 7:03 in the morning and at night. Like it was constant. I was like, what exactly is that supposed to be telling me? So there's a couple things you kind of have to be a little sleuth, right? So let's say you break it down into just the pure meanings of the number. So you have the number 7, which is spirituality, mysticism, intuition. And then you have the number 3, which is like creation and joy and creativity and all of that. So just using that, I mean, I could deduce that the message that, my true self and my spiritual guides are trying to tell me is to keep tapping into my inner light to create and experience, true joy, right? So that could be one message that my guides just wanted to tell me. Now, I could also think about, okay, every time I look at the clock at 7:03, I can stop and say, what was I just thinking about? And maybe there's a message in there about what I was just thinking about. Maybe my guides want to tell me like, yes, like that's the good thought. Or, you know, maybe you want to think about what you were, maybe it's negative self-talk. Like what if I'm talking bad, like just, sometimes negative self-talk, you don't even realize you're doing it. But they might be tapping you like, hey, stop that. So pay attention to what you were just thinking about if you see, the number repeatedly. It could also just mean my angels and guides saying, hey, you're on the right track. Keep going. Don't give up. A lot of times synchronicities are like that. It's just more of an encouragement of, hey, we're with you. You're on the right track. Contact us if you need us. So I think part of the fun is kind of deciphering like your own special code because this is special communication between you and your true self and your spiritual team. So it's kind of fun. Like that's kind of the fun part of synchronicities and working with numbers. Now, you may have also heard of angel numbers. So this is very similar to the synchronicities. So, you know, you might get, if your angels wish to communicate with you, then they're going to send you signs through numbers specifically. So again, you might see repeated numbers, you might see a specific number sequence, and there's actually some websites out there. Like if you have a number sequence that you keep seeing, just go out and research and see what people say about that. There's some good websites out there that you can check out and see what that meaning is. Like what are your angels trying to communicate with you? And better yet, connect with them directly yourself. Listen to the angels episode, connect with them and ask them to send you like, what kind of message are you trying to tell me? So try doing that if you want. And again, this may be one number, it could be a combination of numbers you keep seeing everywhere. You might be dreaming about it too. Some people dream, are very vivid dreamers, and a lot of information comes to them through your dreams. So maybe you keep dreaming about numbers or what have you. So, definitely pay attention to that. And then you might have heard of life path numbers. So this is super fascinating. I love working with life path numbers. I work with my clients and determining theirs because it's really cool. It's interesting. There's a lot of like personality tests out there, like the Myers-Briggs and even Enneagram, which does have a spiritual component, by the way. And I think we're going to do an episode coming up on that. But for me, I always love the life path number because you can't really cheat that. It's based on your birth date. So it's not like you can put what you want to, you think you are or what you want to be. There's no taking long tests. I mean, it is what it is, right? So the life path number, so each person, holds their birth date, holds a special vibration. And that vibration determines your soul mission in this particular lifetime. So, just to calculate your birth or your life path number, you just add up all the numbers in your birth date. So, and again, just a reminder, in numerology, we break down the numbers till we get to one digit, 1 through 9. So let's do an example. Let's say your birthday is April 2nd, 2002. So how you would break that down is you would have April is 4, because it's the fourth month, and then April 2nd, so it's like 4 plus 2, and then 2002 is the year. So it'd be 4 plus 2 plus 2002, and so that equals 2008. So then to break that down, you would add 2 plus 8, which equals 10. And then you're going to break that down one more time. 1 plus 0 equals 1. So your life path number would be 1. And as a life path 1, you're a leader, you're independent, you're innovative, you're creative, and you're a master manifester. It's a very powerful life path. I mean, they're all wonderful and they all have really like great qualities. So, definitely life path is really interesting. I think if you're interested, if this resonates, definitely go out and figure out what your life path number is and do a little research on it, because it might be surprising. You'd be like, wow, there's so much stuff that like really just hits the nail right on the head. Maybe there's parts of it that don't resonate. I mean, it's going to be, just to kind of get a general feel, but see what you think, see if it resonates. And kind of along the same line with the birth date, we think of astrology, right? So, our astrological signs are based on our birth date as well. And so numerology and life path numbers play into each other really closely as well. And I will be honest, I've said this many times. This is not my forte. Astrology is not my area. So I don't know a ton about it, but there is a deep connection. And I was actually kind of looking at some articles, and there was an article online that talked about how numerology is a great companion to astrology because it helps clarify the sign by providing additional nuance, so additional information. So it kind of gives you that extra. It enhances your understanding of self by revealing not just how you express yourself, but where you output your inherent energy. So I think there's some additional. So if you're, let's say, I'm a Sagittarius and I'm a life path 6. So they're, kind of looking at those two together, you can get a really good feel for who you are, when you were born, what your mission is, and what your outlook's going to look like, and how do you work best in the world and lifetime that we're in. So Definitely too. If that interests you, take a look at that, do a little further research. Again, we're keeping it simplified on this podcast, but I always recommend if something piques your interest, then definitely go and check it out a little bit further and report back. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so let's talk the next thing. So, light codes and light language. So, this is really cool. So, I don't know if you've heard of light language before. You may or may not have heard of that. But the universe has long communicated with humans and beings on Earth and other planets through light codes. This is actually the original language that we speak. If we're born from maybe a different planet, and, I'm in the belief that we have multiple lifetimes and we live on multiple planets and multiple universes. So we communicate, like, our origin language is light language. It's the language of your soul, it's the language of your heart. And these, light languages can contain light codes, and these codes can include specific numbers and number sequences, and can activate certain energetic portals in the universe and within our own bodies and energetic uh, fields and souls. So this is definitely super fascinating. It's something that is really important to me, and something I'm working with currently. And so I'm going to actually have an episode coming up soon just on light language. So more to come on this one. So stay tuned. Okay. And then now numbers can also be seen in tarot cards. So we've talked about tarot cards in another episode. And, if you look at a tarot deck, it's much like a regular deck of playing cards. So it contains numbers, right? So there's four suits. Now the suits are different. They're swords, cups, wands, and pentacles. But they are numbered, ace through 10 in a tarot deck. Ace is kind of considered one. And then you have 10 in tarot. So, and then you also have the court cards like kings and queens, etc. So, for example, there's in a tarot deck, you have a two of swords, there's a two of cups, two of wands, two of pentacles, right? So if you look at the twos in tarot, they often symbolize choices or the duality. So as remember, two, it's that duality. It's positive, negative, yin, yang, light, dark, you know, divine masculine, divine feminine. So it's really kind of that duality piece to it, which correlates exactly to the number of the meaning two, what two represents in numerology. So it's pretty cool to see that there's that direct correlation. Now, you can use numerology in looking at certain dates, right? So we talked about our birth date, but sometimes I just get the call to look at the current date. If I'm doing a meditation and my guides are like, do the numerology today, see what's going on. So I can get a sense of the current energy going on that day. So let's do an example of that. So let's say today I'm recording this episode on January 27th, 2021. So if I break that down, I'm going to do 1 plus 27 plus 2021. 2021. So that equals 2049. So if you break that down, you do 2 plus 4 plus 9, and that breaks down to 15. And then you break it down again. So 1 plus 5 equals 6. So today's energy is of the number 6. And so a reminder, so 6 is, represents family and nurturing and support and love and all of that. So, we can take this as a message that we can capitalize on today's energy by tapping into our own nurturing side. And maybe this means, nurturing yourself, some self-care. Maybe this means, nurturing others, your family, nurturing your friends, your animals, however else you could express your nurturing side. This would be a great day to spend time with your family and really appreciate your loved ones and being with them. It's 6 days are also really great healing days as well. So, maybe you focus on some self healing today, like meditation or breath work, like we just talked about, or resting or whatever you need. Check into your inner light and see what you need today. So that's, an example of how you can work with the current energies of what's going on to help you live your best life. So again, it's amazing. There's just multitude of ways to work with numbers. And if we're looking at dates, you can actually look at years too. So, similar to dates, you can find out like what's to come in a certain year. You can look back in a year of your life and see what number that was and be like, oh, that makes sense why that is. I mean, we're in a 5 year right now, but you can calculate your personal year too. So, and 5 year meaning 2021. So 2 + 2 + 1. So just in general, we are all in a 5 year, but you can figure out your personal year based on your birth date. So let's say, for example, your birth date's August 8th, 1990. Okay. So you would calculate your personal year by taking the month and day, but then inserting the current year instead of the year you were born. So if you were born August 8th, 1990, to calculate your personal year for this year, you would add up 8 plus 8 plus 2021, and that would equal 2037, which breaks down to a 12, which then breaks down to a 3. So therefore, if this is your birth date, then your personal year is based on the energy of the number 3. So that's all again about creativity and artistic expression, being social, so that can kind of give you an idea of wow, what to expect from this year and how you can use that because you're aligned with that energy. So whatever you do that aligns with that, it's gonna be like amplified. It's gonna be really aligned, and it's gonna flow. It's gonna be easy and joyful. Now, there's a really great website. It's creativenumerology.com. If you're interested in numerology, I like this site. And you can calculate and kind of research and look up your personal year this year, or whatever year you want to see, what does that mean? So this website kind of lists like a lot. Like if you're, let's say we're using this example for this uh, sample person who had the personal year of 3. So this website kind of goes into what you can expect from a year with 3. It's very detailed. So if you want more information, definitely check that out. I'll include that link in the episode description so you can take a look at that. But so as you can see, I mean, there's so many different really cool and fun ways that you can use numerology to tap into your light, tap into your unique special code, speak your own light language. Like it's fascinating, and it really can just open your mind and open your world to like all these new possibilities and um, ideas and beliefs about yourself too, like beliefs and positive beliefs about yourself and about the world around you. So numeral is just one of those amazing tools and gifts from the universe to help you connect with your inner light and beyond. So regardless of how you work with the number energy, numbers are really, they're like these messengers that are delivering this guidance to you from the universe, from your true self, from source, from spirit. It's really just a way to communicate with you. And whether you're experiencing synchronicities or you decide to tap into the energy of a particular date, numbers are a way for your soul to communicate messages to you, to help you discover your own truth in this world. So if this resonates, definitely encourage you to really start exploring and working with numbers and thinking of it from a different perspective. You're never going to look at numbers the same again. I mean, you're going to look at them as magical and fascinating. At least I do. I hope you do as well. They're super fun. And, again, I've talked about this, like this is the year of fun and play. We're in a 5 year, right? So that's freedom. It's adventure, explorations, fun, play, inner child. This is a great way to add some fun into your own spiritual practice, your meditation practice, your daily kind of inner light check-in. You can add in numerology to kind of make it fun and interesting, exploratory, and kind of open your heart and mind. So give it a try. Let us know how it goes for you. I definitely would love to hear your thoughts on numerology. Are you currently using it? If so, how do you use it? If there's other ways, I just mentioned a couple today, but if there's other ways that you use it, please share with us. I would love to know. Like I said, I'm a numerology geek. I love it. So anything you can share would be great. And you can do this in our Spirituality Simplified Facebook group that you can join. You can share with us there. And actually, while we're talking about the Facebook groups, I wanted to let you guys know that I'm actually going to be streaming the weekly Wednesday live Q&A sessions to YouTube as well. And we just started that today, actually. So you can see those on the Spirituality Simplified YouTube channel or in the Spirituality Simplified Facebook group. So it's going to be both. I'm trying to figure out how to stream to LinkedIn. It's still kind of working on that. But I wanted to make this more available and accessible to people. So I'm really excited about that. So we did record the live Q&A session today where we talked about last week's episode on breath work. So that is live now. So if you want to go check it out on the YouTube channel, feel free to do that. And I'm also really excited to announce that next week's episode is about mediumship, and I'm going to be featuring an amazing and lovely guest who is a medium who will be talking to us about mediumship. So I'm so excited about that. I know Jennifer, she is a close friend. She's done readings for me. We've done courses together. She is the real deal, and she's 100% someone I trust completely. And I'm so excited for her to come on and talk to us about mediumship and what that is. And it's really cool because I know some of you may be interested in, mediumship yourself, or maybe you're just interested in getting a reading and connecting with your deceased loved ones. But the great news is Jennifer can answer questions about both. So she'll be talking about that. So definitely check that out. I'm so excited. And then, of course, don't forget to join the mailing list on my website, which is soulhealingwithallie.com. When you join, you'll get a free meditation and access to the monthly Soul in One Digest. And it looks like February. I can't believe it. We're almost in February. That will probably be coming out like late next week, possibly. So now is a really good time to join the mailing list. And then also, I wanted to remind you, I have a new LinkedIn group called Your Soul at Work, and we're having so much fun in this group. It's really, really fun. It's such a nice place to go throughout your workday to kind of relax and connect back to your inner light, because I know it's hard when you're at work that you disconnect a lot from that part of yourself. So it's really good to come back in. And it's a good place just to get support from your like-minded peers and people who are of love and support and joy. So definitely check it out. It's really, really fun. So all the links to everything that I'm mentioning today will be in this episode's show description. So, check that out. But I think that's about it for today. So again, thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful day. I hope you find this inspirational and it opened your mind and maybe changed your perspective on numbers or maybe just enhanced what you already loved about numbers. So thank you again, and remember to keep it spiritual, but keep it simple. Thanks, guys. See you next time.